Um, yeah, I have. I've talked to so many people, mostly golfers and golfers that have won the Masters, about what did you feel like you needed to do, or what was it that got you across the line. But I think in different sports, I've certainly got a lot of inspiration from other athletes, and athletes that are maybe at the back end of their careers and still being able to achieve these great things. And I think of, you know, Novak and Roger and Rafa in tennis, or I look at, Messi or Ronaldo in soccer, or I look at Tom Brady in American football, like guys that are at, I'm not old, but I'm certainly older than I once was. And I think just to take inspiration from those guys and what they were able to achieve later into their careers always give me the belief that one day I'd be able to do it at Augusta. Yeah, I think I talked about this at the Masters, where winning my first Masters and completing the career Grand Slam, I always felt like that was going to be the highlight of my career, and I sort of described it as the destination. Like that's where I wanted to get to, no matter else whatever happens in my career. Like I'm always going to have that, but I'm still competitive. I still feel like I have a lot left to give. So it took me a while, but I had to reframe my goals and think about, okay, what's next? And that was my fifth major. I just got my sixth, and I feel like I can keep adding to that tally. I think I'm at a point in my career where I really have to target the bigger events, the four major championships, the Ryder Cup. And I still feel like I've got a lot of good years left. So trying to add to that number is something that's really important to me. Yeah, it felt this year's win compared to last year's, it felt more real, more complete, more, I had my parents there. It wasn't the first time doing it. Like there was more of a, I think when I won in 25, I kept thinking to myself, is this real life? The way it happened, the way everything, and there was this outpouring of emotion, where this year it just felt more, it was like validation. And having my parents there was absolutely incredible. And, it was my mum's second time watching me win a major. The last time was 12 years ago in 2014 at the Open. So it was great to have them there, and to have Erica there and Poppy and celebrate. And Erica's parents were there. And so to celebrate as a full family was a lot of fun. Yeah, I saw Rafael a lot last week, out at the course at Augusta, and yeah, to have his support, and he'd leave me little voice notes at the end of every day, and like it's really cool when you have one of the absolute legends of sport cheering you on like that, and him knowing what it feels like to be in that position. That's really cool. And I, as I said, I'd see him throughout the day, and I'd see him on the course at certain points, and that was really cool. I'd say one of the coolest experience for me was being able to bring the green jacket to India. It was the first time a green jacket has ever been in that country, and I did an event with Sachin Tendulkar, which was absolutely incredible. To think about Sachin, cricket, the reach that has in that country, the amount of people that, exposing that amount of people to golf in the green jacket. And I feel like that's we talk about growing the game a lot in golf, but I think that's a real way to grow the game, is to be able to have these collaborations with other sports stars and in other countries. And that night in India, doing that with Sachin was very, very cool. Yeah, I think it's the one time in golf where we have a rivalry. You know, we just talked about the rivalries that you can have in tennis and some of these other sports. Hard to create those in golf, just because of the nature of, you know, like myself and Scotty Scheffler, for example, we're not really going to go up against each other all that often, just the way it all sort of works out. So, you know, the Ryder Cup, it's either your Team Europe or your Team USA. And I think just because of the history of the event and what has happened in Ryder Cup matches over the past 20 or 30 years, everyone is on edge, and it's become it's become one of the biggest sporting events in the world. And in my experience, I think some of my most memorable days on the golf course have been during Ryder Cups. I can't wait to play in front of those crowds in Ireland. I think that's going to be the first thing. You know, I would say I'm not going to be the only person from that island that's going to be on the team, so I think that'll be very exciting. And yeah, it's just, you know, I watched the Ryder Cup in 2006 when it was last in Ireland at the K Club, and it was just an incredible atmosphere. And I expect no different this time around, and I really think the crowd are going to give us the momentum to go and win our 4th Ryder Cup in a row. Good evening, everyone. I'm sorry I can't be with you in Madrid tonight. Thank you to the Laureus World Sports Academy for recognizing me with this, my 2nd prestigious Laureus Award. It really does mean a lot. I've had my fair share of near misses at the Masters over the years, and those moments are tough at the time. But they're also the ones that push you on, make you work harder, and remind you not to give up. Thankfully, it all came together for me in Augusta last year. I said when I was 8 years old that I wanted to win all the majors, and to finally achieve that is an incredible feeling. And to then go back and retain the Masters, well, that's something really special. I want to thank my family, my team, and everyone that supported me along the way. These awards were founded by my friend Johan Rupert, so this is a particularly special honour for me. I share Johan's belief and the words of Laureus patron Nelson Mandela that sport can change the world. I hope you all have a wonderful evening, and thank you again.